Hello, fellow entrepreneurs. Welcome to another edition of the Startup Sandwich Podcast. I'm your host, Rick Phillips. Today, we're going to speak to Leia J. Hoffman. And before we get to know you, I met you a number of years ago through YEDI, but we'll get to that. Before we give you the formal introduction, I want to ask you a question, if I may.
Go for it.
If it's your passion, it won't feel like hard work. Talking about business or nonprofits. If it's your passion, it won't feel like hard work. What's your opinion?
I agree. You are right. If it's your passion, it won't feel like hard work. If it's your passion and it's something you enjoy, like turning a hobby into a job. How lucky are you, right?
And that's the dream, isn't it?
Yeah.
And a lot of entrepreneurs perhaps think that exact statement, I'll turn a hobby into a business. In your experience, how successful are they, or what do they need to become successful and make that hobby a true business?
That's a good question because times have changed and hobbies have changed. So with that being said, I think, you really need to understand the ebbs and flows and you just need to hold on and make sure that whenever you feel like, today isn't the best day, understand that tomorrow will be better. And I find that really that's the lack of consistency with entrepreneurship is sort of the wave that I've learned to ride.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You do a lot of work, I guess, for a long time, your whole career with nonprofits and charities, right?
Yeah, for the past decade. I'm 35 and sometimes I look back, I'm like, damn, this has been a long time. Yeah, but I took my passion for people and I turned it into a career. And, sometimes I get sucked in to go in-house because I work with executive directors and we have such a good bond. And then, it's tempting. And then I'll go in-house, I'll be like, no, I don't want this. So really to just understand that it may not be consistent every day, but just hold on to it. Hold on to it because the longer you hold on to it, the more solid it becomes.
You mentioned you turned a passion for people into eventually business and profit. So I guess we can start there a little bit. What sort of things were you involved in that just made you always around people? And then maybe you saw some sort of business angle to that or potential?
Yeah, so I've always been pretty social. I love humans. I've always loved humans. That's just, ever since I was a kid, I was that kid that hugged the strangers. So it happened naturally. I, would sit on committees, sit on boards, and, people started to reach out and they're like, hey, can you sit on this committee? Can you sit on this board? Can you help with this project? And one point I had no more capacity. And I was working in-house at High Lifeline Canada. That was my first, nonprofit position. And after that, I just realized, I think I got something here. I think I can make this into a business. So, my first iteration was Link Toronto, linking good people to great causes.
Good slogan.
Right. I loved it. But it was L Inc. So people would read it as Lincing. And I'm like, oh, well, that's not it. So again, went back to the drawing board and I'm like, what about good people, great causes? So GPGC was born.
Right.
And I took, my background in fundraising and I worked in politics for a bit. And I just took all of that and used all the tools in my toolbox to create GPGC.
It seems like from when I met you through YEDI that you were already very well networked. You knew a lot of people. And by people, I mean important people, big fishes, as I would call them, people in important places. Was that through kind of passively just what you were doing at working through politics, or were you actively saying, I want to fundraise, I want to build my network?
Natural. Not to say I don't see titles, but I see humans. And, my friend Jill, the barista at, Starbucks on Eglinton, she's my girl, love her.
Right.
And, it's all the people. It's not just the heavy hitters. And I think that's the key, to see people as people and not as titles, because titles transcend and money comes and goes, but humans and integrity and really understanding that everybody has a story. Everybody's going through something and, treat people nice, be kind. What, so.
Be a good human.
Be a good human. Life's hard.
Yeah,
Life is hard.
Sure. Yeah.
And, how nice is it when someone comes up to you and says, hey, Rick, I like your eyes.
Yeah.
Got some nice blue eyes.
Yeah, I got 2 of them.
Right, you got 2 of them. How lucky, right?
Yeah.
So it's just, that's where I, feel it from. Yeah.
It reminds me of, like, people always talk about wanting or needing a genuine connection, especially in business, right? They're like, don't be fake. But yet some people go and try to learn an elevator pitch or something and it feels fake. And then some people target certain people with certain lines and it doesn't work, it backfires. But it sounds like you have the perfect solution, which is to be genuine by stripping away any kind of expectations or weight on their title and just getting to know people as people.
Yeah.
Would that be fair?
Yeah. Energy is real. You think that they don't feel you when you're sitting there and you're speaking to a billionaire? You don't think they understand who they are? Like, you got to be real. You got to be genuine and real. Everyone has more or less similar problems, right? As a human. It's
right.
Again, life isn't naturally, positive and fun and beautiful. You need to make it that. I'm Jewish, and in Judaism, it's a good deed to be happy. It's a mitzvah. To be happy. Yeah. And I'm just like, I always used to think that was so weird. I'm like, why is it a mitzvah to be happy? Right. It's because life is hard. Right. So you gotta just pull up your pants and be like, I got this. Yeah.
This conversation is going quite into the philosophy, which I love as well, the philosophy, because it's a personal philosophy. I mean, you mentioned Judaism, but it's a personal philosophy, right? You're taking, when you're going to meet people in business, it's your personal philosophy that's leading the way, I guess, right? It's just who you are and how you show up. And they're responding and they're connecting with you.
Yeah.
And then that gives you opportunities. So this is a good time, I think, to talk a bit more about your business. So let people at home know a little bit more about what it is you're doing.
Sure. So I connect nonprofits and philanthropists to each other. It's like a shidduch. It's a matchmaker. I'm very focused on mutually beneficial, because everything could be mutually beneficial. It doesn't need to be one way. It's like, who likes a one-way street? Honestly, you see the one-way street, you're like, what is that? Like, was that necessary? So really, mutually beneficial, two-way streets, one hand washes another.
Right.
And just because you are not a billionaire does not mean that you don't have something that can help them, right? Money isn't everything. So that is my focus. My focus and my passion is mutually beneficial, connections.
I love that. It's gives everyone at home a chance to think about what do I offer, right? What are my resources? It doesn't have to be financial resources, but what of any type of hard skill or soft skill or personality or my education or experience, or maybe they've got the next best thing coming and someone else who's already experienced is interested in that.
Yeah.
Did you start this about 10 years ago, or how old is the business?
Yeah. I started this 10 years ago, and I got roped in a few times to go in-house because I do love my clients. I don't know if you saw that meme going around, like Wolf of Wall Street. He's like, be professional with your clients, but then he's like dancing with them. Like, that's me.
Right.
They end up being my friends. Again, these are humans. Like I think back in the day, it used to be that you would stay somewhere for 25 years. Titles change now. So it's really that relationship. It's, I text.
Yeah.
I do emails, but I'm a texter. I'm a caller. Like, I like picking up the phone and being like, hey, how you doing? So, it's been a decade.
And you say that as a bad thing, but I think a lot of people think that's great experience. That's great trial and error. That's great feedback, market research, and then, of course, connections. So there's a lot that can be done in a decade. So that's awesome. Good for you. I want to talk a little bit about what brought you to YEDI. I don't remember exactly when, but at some point a number of years ago, you came through YEDI.
Yeah.
I believe was it the incubator program or the nonprofit program?
Nonprofit.
Yeah, the nonprofit. So tell us a little bit about what kind of brought you to YEDI.
A human.
How did it go? A human.
A human.
I'm sensing a theme.
Marat. I admire him. He is awesome. He is genuine and real, and his story was just captivating. And I am not one for school. I have a double major in political science, and I hated going through school. I hated elementary school. I hated high school. I love the people there. But it's like asking, a fish to climb a tree. Like, what? That's not going to work.
Right.
So when I met him and he told me about this institution, I was like, oh, I don't want to be part of your institution. But then when I spoke to him and I saw the way he created it, I saw who was involved with it when I met you. I was like, ooh, these are good humans, right? So it was great. And it was a casual environment. It wasn't intimidating. There there was parking. So like basic things that, little things that just made it easier to learn new skills. And, I remember I worked with Elizabeth. She was so kind. And, I would message her, hey, how you doing? She messaged me back. It wasn't like you say institution and it's like institution.
Right.
But it's really just a place to learn new skills.
Yeah.
So really, I learned so many new skills and I met so many awesome people. And I just, mentioned to you before, I just recently did the AI program there. And that was great. I was in a room with like people that were just there to learn and connect and just, it was something special.
It's interesting. I can't help but, listen to your language and notice a funny little contradiction, which is completely fine. You said something to the effect of you didn't like school besides the people, but then you also obviously like learning because you just did this AI course and stuff. So is it something that as an entrepreneur, you find something that fits your lifestyle to continually upgrade and keep learning like this AI course?
Yes.
So how do you don't?
So I think school, I should say, I don't like the school buildings. I don't like the chalkboard. I guess back in the day, whatever, not that old, but damn, like there was a chalkboard. I didn't like the chalkboard. I'm like, there's information there that you're just going to erase.
Right.
Like what? Like I didn't understand the way they were teaching.
Right.
And I love learning. I, have subscription to Masterclass. I learn, through videos. I'm not the biggest reader. Right. And for a long time, people are like, you have to read.
Right.
That's the only way you're going to learn. And I'm just like, I should try. And I do try, but I love learning through experience, through people's experience. I love listening to speeches. I'm always going to conferences. I love doing like courses like that AI course. Like I like learning through trying it.
Right.
And yeah. So I guess that's what I mean with school. Not school as like
the institute.
Yeah, right?
That's the word institute. No,
institute.
Not good for you.
Yeah.
Right. Very good. And so you bring up a good point. Again, especially for entrepreneurs, it's find whichever way you can learn and you can absorb to maximize your skill set, to learn more. If people want to read, if they want to go on online to YouTube or whatever, if they want to listen to podcasts, hint, if they want to go up to events and conferences, whatever it is. But I think the advice we're giving is keep learning, right? Don't be stagnant.
You have to learn.
Yeah.
You have to continue learning. You have to, you will become stale.
Right.
You will not know things. You have to open your mind. And recently one of my clients was like, they're a wine company.
Sounds good.
Random. And I'm like, I'm not a wine girly. Like, take a course. So I went to George Brown. Got anxiety. I'm sitting there and I'm like, this isn't my element. Even we're sitting there trying wines. I'm like, this is not my element. But if you take me to, Tuscany and you take me to different vineyards, I would have absorbed a lot more information. So it's just, it's fascinating. It's also probably like a personal block that I have, right?
Right. So exactly. So whoever we are as entrepreneurs, whatever the situation is, let's find that out so that we can maximize our efforts to learn. Yeah. Let's not bash our head against the wall trying to do the same thing over and over again. If institutes are not for an entrepreneur, then try to find a different way to pick up that information and learn. Yeah, exactly.
I think a big thing I have really leaned into is understanding, like self-awareness to, I know what I know and I know what I don't know.
Right.
And in order to grow, you outsource what you don't know.
Right.
If you're not interested in learning it or taking, your education to the next level, a lot of people are like, why don't you go get a master's? I'm like, what am I going to do with a master's? Like, so it's really understanding, again, we're all humans.
Right.
Like, lean into your skill. Don't bash your head if you are not into math.
Right.
If maths is not for you, don't do it. Go hire an accountant. Right. So it's really, some people are like, it's lonely to be a leader alone. I'm like, no, you have a crew. You have a solid crew. You have a posse around you that supports you and you support them.
Right.
You like come up together. And I'm a strong believer in that. And I'm also a strong believer in supporting women. Like, I love women. And I think that it's, it's really something special when a group of women come together. Things happen in a different way. Yeah.
we've had other guests speak about the importance of community, the importance of support, the importance of not trying to do everything yourself, and to definitely find, you called it a posse, but however, whether it's advisors or board members or staff or volunteers, find people to help.
Yeah.
A lot of people out there, they really do have this kind of, I guess, Lone Ranger attitude or lone wolf attitude. They really think it's like, no, that's my idea. Only I can understand, only I can do it. And they have a hard time, right, in the beginning.
Collaboration happens at the top, and competition happens at the bottom, alone and sad and negative. You know, I recently went to this YEDI J Expo, and Ed Sunshine spoke, and he's a massive, inspiring man. And he, Ryokan, and he spoke about the fact that he met one of his partners chairing a UJA campaign. And if somebody as epic as him understands that collaboration is where it's at, and that's how growth actually happens, then, I wish it would just trickle down to everyone else, because really, I 100% agree with you. You're right. A lot of people do have that mentality.
Yeah.
And I find it really sad and negative. And it's just, it's wrong. Like, in my opinion, it's wrong. It's not right. So you're not alone. There's, there's a whole world around you. You just need to connect to the people that you energetically connect to, So.
Yeah, I would say that the people out there, if you want to be the decision maker of your organization, fine. If you want to call yourself president or CEO, fine. But that doesn't mean you have to do everything alone. And you certainly are going to get a lot of value out of your community. I want to touch on, you mentioned, and I just want to give you a chance to talk more about it. You talked about how you love seeing women together in business and supporting each other. Can you just share a little bit more of your thoughts or experience with that, please?
Sure. I get sad when I see mean girl energy. I think that comes from a place of insecurity. And I find that really when women come together, it's like you have women now who are CEOs of their household, running an entire house, right? And then they're CEOs of an entire company. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's intense.
It's busy.
It's epic. And not to say men can't do that. Men can do that as well, but it's just you don't see that. So just seeing that is really powerful. And if you can, you can find the source of that, you really understand that women just function differently.
It's true. We're not the same.
Yeah, we are different.
I want to circle back a bit and talk about one of the main themes I'd like to talk about today with you, which is passion. Turning passion to profit is kind of a phrase out there, but also just, I do believe, especially in the nonprofit and charity world, that a lot of people lead with passion first. That's the beginning, that's the growth, right? At the same time, and you can share your experience too, at the same time, we do find that a lot of people don't have enough business savvy perhaps to launch the business successfully, the nonprofit, or maybe it doesn't last long. What can people do if they're very passionate about an idea, they want to start a nonprofit or charity? What's a couple maybe quick advice you would give them to make sure that that's sustainable?
Go to YEDI.
Go to YEDI, yes.
Well, they'll teach you the admin skills. They'll teach you the things that, I didn't know, right? And then surround yourself with people that do have those skills. Not everybody's good at everything, and not everybody will be good at everything. So don't, like you mentioned, don't bash your head like, what?
Yeah.
Get yourself like you eloquently said, I call it a posse, I call it a crew, because these people are really going to be the ones that you're speaking to all the time. But get yourself a board of advisors, get yourself a board, get yourself a committee, get yourself people who are passionate. Some people call them lay leaders, and get them together, and they're there to help. Nobody gets into nonprofit to make money. That's not, you get into for-profit to make money. But there is money to be made in nonprofit. You are raising millions of dollars for organizations. There is something to be said for that. So,
Right, exactly. There's a common, I don't know if it's a question, maybe it's a choice out there when hiring someone, whether it's even a volunteer, by the way, part-time contractor, full-time employee, whatever. Do we hire the person based on passion and cultural fit for the core ideas and mission of the organization, especially in a nonprofit, or do we hire them for their skill set? What's your opinion or experience on this question?
I think a bit of both. For sustainability, they need to fit into the culture.
Mm-hmm.
Can't just get somebody who has skills and who, is not kind or awkward or just doesn't understand, the culture of the, of the organization, right?
Mm-hmm.
You want to enjoy who you're working with. That's first and foremost.
Right.
I was at a meeting the other day and somebody said, "Can you send out a calendar invite?" She goes, "That's above my pay grade." Like, a calendar invite. But she can learn that.
Mm-hmm.
So she has great personality, a good energy. She could learn how to send out a calendar invite.
Mm-hmm.
So I think for smaller things, people can learn those skills if they're open to learning. So I would say to focus on somebody who's open to learning if they don't have all the skills. But I would lean towards somebody that's a better fit for your culture.
Right.
Because somebody who's negative and who's going to come in and just be sour all day is really going to, like a poisonous apple, going to really poison everyone else around them.
Right.
So, yeah.
And we may find people who maybe get that way, quote unquote toxic, because perhaps there's issues with the work schedule or the pay or whatever it might be, because they're not invested in the culture, the organizational fit, the culture. Whereas other people who are more in line or aligned with the culture itself of the organization, they tend to ride the ups and downs a bit better, don't they? They're in it for the long haul because they understand the vision. So I guess as leaders, we have to make sure that we communicate that vision pretty clearly before we hire anybody, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
You need to tell them what you're there for,
Yeah.
what they're going to be there for.
Right. I wonder, because you've been in business for 10 years and all that, how do you go about hiring people? Do you have any interesting techniques or tips or interview questions when you're going to bring on somebody, whether as an advisor or board member? I know I'm giving you a wide question, however you want to answer, but I think the audience might be interested to know how you make sure you get the right people on your team.
Well, first and foremost, it's an energy. If they come in and they're excited to be a part of something larger than themselves, and if they're really excited and they see this as an opportunity to do something great, that's you're 65% there.
Nice. I love it. Yeah.
The rest, I think you learn. You can learn. And, as I mentioned, like, if you don't know how to send out a calendar invite, you can learn. You don't know how to, use AI, take a minute to learn, right?
Right.
So I'm a strong believer in culture versus skill and energy versus skill, because skills can be learned and energy is something that is a lot harder to, sort of teach somebody.
Right. It's harder to fake, I think.
Harder to fake. It's harder, I try not to work with negative people, which is sometimes difficult because, as everyone knows, it's tough times now, but, be grateful. You're alive. You're well. Like, have gratitude. It will really change your day. So
I don't want to throw you a curveball question. It just sort of popped into my head as a person interested in communications.
Yeah.
I wonder if you've got really good communication skills in terms of conflict management and things, so that if you see some negativity cropping up at work, I'm assuming, you can correct me if I'm wrong, you sort of can go in and have some sort of conversation to bring them down or to make them realize not to.
We go for ice cream. We go for ice cream. We sit down. We say, "Hey, what happened here?" Because it's usually a miscommunication. It's usually an assumption. And I know that everybody knows that assumptions, right? Assumptions are no good.
Go for ice cream. I love your answers. These are great. Going back to the work, the idea that you're basically connecting philanthropists and people with money, people that want to donate something, whether money or other, to nonprofits and charities. You're connecting them with, I suppose, the leaders of the nonprofits and charities, right?
Yeah.
It sounds so, I don't want to say easy, but it sounds so neat and tidy when you say it that way. I think there's a lot of people out there going like, how? Like, I tried to meet these people, they won't return my calls, or they won't email me, or something to that effect. So how is it you do that? I mean, even if a philanthropist has a good relationship with you, but they may not know the third party you're trying to connect them with, right? So it can't be as easy as just snap your finger.
I give them a call. I say, "Hey, are you interested in this cause?" And usually they have, personal connection. They either like helping, children, education, health. So I break it down to 3 Ds. There are doers, there are donors, and there are door openers. And somebody that I would invite onto my board would be all three.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody I would be inviting to a committee would be two. And somebody that I would be just connecting would be one.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't matter which one it is, but there needs to be a want to help.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And there also needs to be a trust that it will be mutually beneficial. It is not just, I'm asking. So I'm not saying it is that easy, but
Right.
if you do it with real integrity and, true transparency and a genuine ask,
Mm-hmm.
people want to help. People want to, it's not.
Right.
Yeah.
It also seems to me that you would know the person's profile to make sure you give them something that they're interested in, right? So would that be something that you just know the people over a certain number of years and build up information, or would you have a CRM of some kind? I know that sounds more technical
yeah.
and less heartfelt, but I think it's also wise.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about how you make sure that you're connecting the right people to each other.
So I have hundreds of thousands of emails. Emails are emails. They're just emails.
Mm-hmm.
You have somebody's email. You know how many emails these people get?
Mm-hmm.
It's not worth much. It's the actual connection. So, you take the time and energy to learn what makes them tick, and you do it naturally. You see them, you go out. Nobody is coming to get you from your room.
Mm-hmm.
You go out.
Mm-hmm.
You go out to the right places and you'll meet the right people. Don't go to the club. Take that. I remember when I was younger and I had less of a budget, right? I stopped going to clubs. I stopped going out. And I started, if you know that, Sick Children's is having a gala, take the $200 that you were going to go to the club with, 3 times that week, or you were going to go to the bar or the restaurant, and be savvy with your money.
Mm-hmm.
Understand that, those are the places that you're going to find people you're interested in connecting with.
Mm-hmm.
So people sometimes say, oh, it's like an exclusive club. Well, anybody could be part of the club if you're strategic.
Mm-hmm.
If you sit down and understand, they're not going to be at Wild Wings.
Right.
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 So really to sit down and understand, if you want to be part of a certain world, to be part of that world,
Right.
not to think that the world is going to come to you. So yeah, that's, when I was younger, I used to love going out.
Right.
I loved connecting with people. And at one point I took my passion for going out and being social. And I realized, like, oh, okay, if I don't go out twice this week, I'm able, to go to Scrubs this year.
Mm-hmm.
Scrubs is Sick Kids Annual Gala. Like, Motion Ball is coming up. There's all of these like beautiful, beautiful evenings that you feel like you're partying for a cause.
Mm-hmm.
And how special is that?
Mm-hmm.
Right? So,
Yeah.
and it's usually open bar. So
Just in case.
yeah,
Just in case.
if you think that it's like, if you think that it's a lot, like, sit down and actually budget how much you're spending for your entertainment, your movie,
Mm-hmm.
your dinner,
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
It's great advice. I think there are some people, some entrepreneurs who are struggling to find the right locations, what conference or networking event or professional association event do I go to? And others say, I don't know if I can afford that membership. I don't know if I can afford that ticket. And you're just simply saying, no, you can. Depends on how you're budgeting, what's your priority. I think that's really great advice.
Yeah. So what's your priority?
Right.
Because yes, they are expensive,
right.
But hopefully you're working,
mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Hopefully you have some sort of, small line item of entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
So then you just save. That's how, right. I did it. I just saved.
Right.
And it ended up really paying off, because at the end of the evening, I looked around and I'm just like, these are good people.
Right.
And it wasn't because they had money. It was because you felt an energy that they were there for a greater cause than themselves.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So,
and then you get to be part of that. You're having a good time. You're having food and drink. You're being social, and you're part of a good cause.
Yeah.
And then that encouraged you to do it again, right?
Yeah.
And so, very good, excellent.
Yeah.
I'd like to ask you a question now. There's a lot of nonprofit founders out there, and some of them complain about being burned out or almost burned out. What's your advice to these nonprofit founders to avoid burnout?
Take a step back. Take a minute to breathe. You're allowed. Like, you're really allowed. And you'll come back, your tank will be full and you'll be ready to go. But really, don't think that you need to keep going, You don't need to be on 24/7. You need to take a day off. And, I'm a strong believer that, once a week, just turn your phone off. Like, when's the last time you turned your phone off? So just to really understand, to take time for yourself, because you are alive.
Right.
You need to keep yourself alive. And you can't just keep going without taking a minute to actually take care of yourself. And you'll come back stronger and better.
I guess you're no good to your team if you're burned out, right?
Yeah.
If you're tired. And so you got to take care of yourself.
Yeah.
It's like that idea that I still have trouble with thinking as a parent, but the idea that they say, if the airplane loses pressure, you have to put the mask on yourself first before the child. And I always think, even as I just said it now, I always think, you got to take care of your child first. Right. No, you have to put on yourself first, because if you go unconscious, you can't take care of your child.
Isn't that fascinating?
Yeah, it's fascinating, that kind of willfulness to say, okay, this is what needs to be done now. And I think these nonprofit founders need to take that advice and say, I'm going to turn my phone off. I'm going to take a day on the golf course or whatever it might be, or reading a book or whatever it might be. But they've got to avoid the burnout, or else they're no good to anyone.
Yeah. Do you think that that's like something that's just inherent in us, to want to put the mask on the child first, as opposed to do you think as a society we've sort of stepped away of saying, hey, it's okay to be selfish for a minute, but selfish has like a negative connotation to it. So not selfish, but it's okay to take care of myself for a minute. It's okay to,
Yeah, I think that's a modern idea. It's okay to be selfish. It's okay to take care of myself. And I think it's something that we have to learn.
Yeah.
I think not just the evolutionary traits of taking care of people that are smaller or weaker, or your family first. I mean, that's obviously an evolutionary trait.
Yeah.
But it's the idea that when you're a founder, I think that you feel you've got everything on your shoulders, because if I don't come in today, the whole world, meaning the business, is somehow going to flounder. And so the pressure that founders put on themselves, whether for-profit or nonprofit, I think makes them come into work when they're sick, makes them skip those days of taking care of themselves. So that's why it's really important somehow, as you said, is to force themselves, to retrain themselves, take care of yourself, be selfish for a day, bring on other people to help, right? Or else you're not going to. It reminds me of the famous story, Animal Farm by George Orwell, when the horse, all he says when there's trouble, for those of you that know he says, I must work harder, I must work harder. So no matter what happens on the farm and bad things happen, even they don't affect the horse says, I will work harder, I will work harder. The horse kills himself. The horse literally works himself to death and dies.
Right.
And it's a powerful story. And he's like, you've got to be careful not to be the horse, to the point that you work so hard, you burn out.
Do you think it's a lack of trust for your team, on your team, when you think that you can't come in? You think that they don't have it?
I think in some cases that's the case. I think in some cases the founder has that leadership idea that it must be, I'm the originator of the idea. It's my idea. I think they've got that on their shoulders. Just, it's my baby and I've got to take care of it. And I think, to your point, they've got to learn to let go, to trust, to let people, let people go a little bit, and to take that day off gives that other secondary leaders a chance to grow. Yeah. And then you're going to find your harmony, probably, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They'll become leaders too.
Right.
And you'll stand next to them as opposed to on top of them.
Which is what you need.
Yeah. Yeah.
Last question for you.
Okay.
Leia, what do you want to mention about your organization in the next, say, 6 months to 2 years? Anything new and exciting coming up? Any changes? Any AI influence of any kind? Anything you want to talk about?
So I'm leaning into AI. I'm also starting to dabble in non-for-profit. I have, people asking me to help them just raise capital. And it's fascinating because I used to pitch a feeling and now it's going to be a product. So, just for me on my own journey, it's fascinating how, it grows. And my focus will still be nonprofit, but it'll be interesting to see,
Yeah, you're learning, you're growing, you're expanding. Very good.
Yeah.
If people want to connect with you and follow up and ask you questions about your organization or anything else, where might they connect with you? Where's the best place?
At Leia J. Hoffman. So on all social media, Yeah. Could find my contact information there, but that's, my point,
Right.
my first point of contact.
I've got to swing back and ask one final question. We forgot to do it. It's my bad. The startup sandwich, the idea is that a venture is like a sandwich, has its foundation like the bread, has some vegetable, perhaps meat, which is kind of your product and service. But usually a good sandwich has a secret sauce. For business, we would tend to think of that as innovation. Do you, again, a bit of a wide open question, but do you feel from your point of view, there's a certain secret sauce to your success or to the success of your organization?
Professionally unprofessional. I turn my clients into my friends and then we grow together.
Yeah.
So really
Great.
I
love that.
I think that's just that's what makes me stand out.
Yeah,
There's a whole world of other people who are doing what I do, but nobody does it like me.
Perfect way to stop. Thank you so much, Leia. Good to see you. Thank you for being a guest and good luck with everything.
Thank you so much.
Welcome.
This was great.
Thank you for watching, and be sure to subscribe on YouTube or wherever you check out your podcasts. Until next time, keep turning small bites into big wins.